I was younger, my friends and I used to play a game called What If? It went a little something like this. What if you are crossing the street and you get your heel stuck in a crevice and you look up to see a herd of wild elephants bearing down on you? Top 3 ways that you avoid being trampled and save your shoe. And go. Yeah, we were really popular back in school, can't you tell? The idea of the game was to find imaginative solutions to unusual and unlikely problems, to get creative in how we considered addressing situations, and to use the knowledge that we had in something we had never experienced. Not once did I think the direction that I would take into adulthood would result in my playing the what if game all the time. Now, I am an optimist by nature, and I am inspired by how people come together and share. I believe that when we share, we develop community, and I firmly believe that community has the ability to lift each other. Some refer to it as a grassroots movement. I prefer to think of it as a ripple effect. Every time you strengthen community, the outward movement builds. And I am deeply involved in my communities. So what do I do? Well, I work with candidates who continue to be untapped potential in today's market. I talk to employers and businesses about their employment needs and who they need to hire. I liaise with my community to build connections. But the best thing about what I do is that I get to play the what if game every day. And it goes a little something like this. What if the job seeker who has some difficulty making eye contact could have different opportunities for their interview? What would be my top 3? And go. What if the employer could give us their top 5 frequently asked questions, answers, and we could program that into a text-to-speech app? Could we open up an opportunity for a nonverbal, non-speaking candidate and go? If it's not clear, I work with people with developmental disabilities like autism seeking employment. According to the Accenture report, Getting to Equal 2018, the Disability Inclusion Advantage, companies haven't leveraged the talents of disabled people for 3 reasons. There is a lack of understanding of scope of talent. There is a lack of understanding of potential benefits. And there is a misconception regarding cost and return on investment. In the United States, in 2018, only 29% of disabled people had a job compared to 77.2% of those who didn't have a disability. In Canada, the trend is very similar, with 41% of those with a disability being employed compared to 80% of those who did not identify as such. Statistics show there is significant room for improvement in those numbers, and that we should be tapping into this community for hiring. And I believe that there is a job for everyone who wants to work. When we start telling their stories and in and about our communities, we can create that ripple effect. What if I presented you with a candidate who came with the following superpowers? They reduce turnover and absenteeism. They double your net profit. They give you access to a consumer base with $1 trillion discretionary spending. How fast would you hire them? Yeah, me too. Did you know that 40% of people with a disability have a post-secondary diploma or degree, or that more than 15% are entrepreneurs or self-employed? Negative imagery and othering can bias our views of people with disability, especially if there has been limited exposure to the capabilities that exist. It is that lack of exposure that leads to a lack of understanding in regard to talent. If we define talent as a package of characteristics that accelerate the acquisition of expertise, and that definition can be applied universally, how do we help people better show off their talents? We tell their stories. We get to know them. We spend time with them, and we hire them if they are interested in working with us. As a business owner, and in my current position, I really enjoy helping people understand the following. The return on investment for hiring people with disabilities is real. It's substantial, and it is profitable. Again, according to Accenture, businesses who improve inclusion hiring are 4 times likely to outperform on shareholder returns. Business champions average a 28% higher revenue and double the net incomes. Hiring for disability inclusion is good business sense. Globally, people with disabilities have $1 trillion worth of discretionary income and lean into inclusive business for spending. It's a lot of purchasing power. The investment that you make hiring is far less than what you get in return. And outside of wages, accommodations for people with disabilities often doesn't cost you anything, or in some cases is minimal, and the return, 72% higher employee retention, or more cost savings with less turnover, better attendance at 86%, and 90% equal or better performance. Here are some ideas that can happen when we apply what if to our thinking. We start with reassessing the idea that there is a normal way to advertise a job, to interview for a job, to hire a person and onboard them, and to retain them as an employee. What if we threw all of those traditional ideas out the window? What is the worst thing that could happen? Chaos, right? Or maybe not. Have you ever read a job ad like this? Rock stars only need apply. We want the best and brightest to do this thing we do. If you've got the metal, you'll pop right out. Ability to play solo and with the band, customer service, experience, an asset. Instead of doing that thing we do, what if we spent some time actually evaluating the jobs we are filling and determining if who we are hiring is the best fit and resource for a position? Are we using our high-end staff to do low-tech jobs at 2 or more times the cost? Let's write the ads so people know what to expect, so they know which skills are important and where there's room for learning on the job. What are the physical aspects? What soft skills are most necessary? What if we left rock stars to playing music and hired people who wanted to work in jobs they were qualified to perform? When we have a clear and a concise way of describing a job we want to fill, our focus can turn to how the candidate fits our culture, to what they bring outside of the skills they've already identified as having in the job description. What if, in examining our job descriptions, we could look at our business and see a natural extension of what we do, a way of creating an entry-level position that could potentially make us more money? For example, the garage where I take my car, if they have a slow period, will detail my vehicle for me. The mechanics making $30+ an hour would wash my car. And don't get me wrong, it's a great service. I like getting my car back clean. I'd even happily pay to get my car back clean, as I'm sure other people would. You see where I'm going with this? What would happen if that garage decided to hire someone to clean the cars and offered it as a service? You create a job and you make money. Where's the no in that? What if we continued to acknowledge that people can competently work from home? People who we can't bring into the office due to accessibility issues, people who need an environment we can't provide, but are capable of putting in the work hours to be successful. How would we change our hiring processes? What new tools have come into being that can change our employment focus and create opportunities for disabled people to fill? What if we could take away the stress of an interview? Make it a conversation about who we are and where we might fit. Switch from panels and awkward seating to a walk in outdoors or around the building. Explore fit to culture and enthusiasm for the job before we even ask those interview questions that everyone memorizes their answers. What if instead of an interview, we had to find work trials that were short-term and allowed people to who might not interview well to demonstrate their ability? Anyone in business will tell you that they have had a great paper application who was bombed the interview process, or the opposite even. Changing how we do things offers opportunities for people to shine in ways that may not be based on, the drier setting normal. What if we never had to onboard someone again? Okay, that's a stretch. And it really isn't going to happen. However, what if we are hiring someone who has access to a job coach? Someone who could onboard an employee with a little bit of knowledge and what to expect. What happens when there is someone who is paid to help transition employees you hire, so as a business person, you can go back to doing what you do best? Wouldn't we love that for everyone? What if there was someone you could call on to help train with new tasks, who could help ensure employees were supported in the workforce, who would work with us to make sure that we retain the people we hire? There are phenomenal job developers and coaches, and I am honored to work with many of them who help put candidates into jobs, support them in onboarding and transitions, and create new opportunities that didn't exist before by visiting businesses to see what they do. Employment should be accessible and inclusive to everyone who wants to work. We have the ability to make it happen. And now I want to play the what if game with you. What if the next time there is an opening in your organization, or you know of someone hiring, what are the top 3 ways you could come up with a world of possibilities for someone with a disability who wants to work? And go. I look forward to your answers.